1. Welcome back to another edition of Boundaries and Brotherhood. I'm your host, Gordon Watt, and with my co-host, Mr.
This is Dr. Keith Faircluff, your resident mental health therapist and co-founder of Boundaries and Brotherhood.
Guys, if you don't have, you need somebody to go to, you need some motivational things, this is where all our free stuff is that you want to go. If you want to be part of the community, have some things going on for you that might just push you in the right direction, come on over to Boundaries and Brotherhood. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, IG, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, we're on all platforms streaming hard with close to 1 million views already, Doc. Close to 1 million views. To get it right. We don't have the subscribers, but we got the views. But that's all that matters because it's all a work in the plan. Today's topic, guys, because it was really, really interesting. Me and Doc was talking about it, right? Wasted time never returns. Stop giving it away and start building yourself now. You know, time is the only resource you cannot earn back. And take it from me, when you give away your time from being addicted to drugs, criminality, and doing time in the federal system and state systems, I keep giving it away freely. Now that you start giving yourself grace and everything else, you understand that you don't want to be giving that thing away because it's so important. And it's some people take it for granted, even in Doc's field, because who you spend your time to, who you give your attention to, is what matters in life. I just wanted to bring that one up because that was something that really hit me because I had a situation, personal, family, friend, that, you know, just going to work, gets into a car accident, and you can't say goodbye. And he turned his life around. To this happen, it even hurts me even more. But I just want to say, introduce yourself again, Doc, for the new podcast members, and let's get into it.
Dr. Keith Fairclough. I'm a mental health therapist focusing on men, couples, and relationships, and women seeking a perspective from a male's perspective on whatever their situation is.
So let me ask you this, Doc. From a clinical standpoint, when you work with couples, do you think that time is more valuable as a couple or as individuals?
Well, I think time's honestly just invaluable in both places, right? Because it's like you said earlier, it's the one resource that there's nothing you can do to get it back. Yesterday is gone. Whatever time you wasted yesterday, it's just gone, right? You can't get that back. So and on top of that, what makes it so precious as well is kind of like you mentioned, you don't know how much time you have. Sometimes we could shorten the amount of time we have on this planet, you know, with our actions and behaviors. But even if we do everything 100% correct, you still don't know how much time you have. So that makes it even that much more precious. But long story short, time is very, very precious. It was just a question this guy asked about if you could get $10 million, but you today, but you won't live to see tomorrow, right? Like after today is done, you know, would you still want that? And the people, of course, everyone's like, no, right? But that has more to do with the life being precious, you know, rather than just time. But I'm sure as well it'd be the same thing. If someone were to say, hey, you know, I'll give you $10 million, but you die in 5 years, most people wouldn't take it because they understand how precious time is. Right?
I mean, even from our page, Boundaries and Brotherhood, because psychologically, if you're giving your time and attention to somebody else that doesn't appreciate it, it's the same thing like you not appreciating your life. Because to be a sovereign man, you need to be in control also of your time. This is why it's so important, because if you don't appreciate, you can use time as so many different avenues, excuses. You can use it as an asset. You could use it as so many different things. But when you start taking it for granted, guys, girls, when you start taking time for granted, this is when you start justifying certain excuses, like Doc said, right? You have to take ownership of the time you have left to live a fulfilling life. Now, does it take a lot of miscues to understand that? Sure. Try doing 5, 10, 15, 20 years. In fact, I just had a guy just come out the other day. He just did 10, Doc. He just came out after he was supposed to have a 2029 out date, right? But imagine you just did 10. You was out for 1 year and you caught another 20.
Jeez.
He goes, ooh, gee, I just try to help a brother out, but you didn't value him. You didn't value yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't controlling yourself.
Hmm.
And just so happened, the world is so small. His nephew plays with my kids that lives down the road. And when he told me that, he goes, I said, you done? He goes, Sole, I'm done. But you gotta understand, you gotta respect yourself and be sovereign and have boundaries. This is
Yeah.
what boundaries and brotherhood is for, because he might be listening to this because, Doc, guess how he found me? He goes, he was watching one of our videos and he heard
Mhm.
my voice. He goes, man, that voice sounds so familiar. In the halfway house. And he goes, but he don't recognize me because I don't have long hair.
Okay.
But guys, this is how important having grace for yourself, respect for yourself, your time, even with your kids. You got to have boundaries. This is what we talk about. Because if you don't have that, guess what happens? Your relationship falls apart. And Doc,
Yeah.
when you see somebody giving, say you're in a therapy session, or you can, and you see somebody not giving the time to their partner, what usually happens?
If you're not taking time with your partner, respond to their bids for connection, there's a disconnection there, right?
Mhm.
And eventually what ends up happening is there's so much disconnection, there's less talking. And so people think there's no fighting, think everything is good. And then eventually one partner says, I'm done. I'm out. I'm leaving. And that's if they don't have an affair or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, attention, right, goes somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because your time, you got to ask yourself a question, when it comes to time, are you putting time and energy into things that are important? Or maybe, you're like, oh, I got to work, and I got to be away from home for, 3-4 months at a time. Some people, that situation they're in, like, are servicemen and women, so obviously they get a pass. But there's sometimes, if we're going to get in a relationship and have a family, you have to understand that time is critical. And, while I'm having a family, right? Being in a relationship, if your career does not allow for you to have the time to cultivate that, then that's not something you want to get into, right? Because sometimes that's also an issue that takes place when it comes to time, is that we take on things, but we don't have the time for it because our time is focused on other
That's deep.
things,
That's deep.
So, I mean, this is honestly a topic. There's a lot of depth and breadth in it, and we're not going to be able to touch on everything today.
Yeah, I know.
It's something definitely to bring it to your awareness that your time, you only have so much of it. You don't know how much time you actually have. And so we need to make sure we're maximizing the time that we have on the things that are the most important. We don't want to waste our time doing things or engaging in things that bring absolutely no real value.
Let me ask you this. So why do you think time is the most undervalued asset in a man's life or a person's life, right?
Yeah.
And how does it, because how does that mean, even for me, let me because you think, like you said, you're going to be Superman. You think you're going to last forever. Why do you think it is one of the most undervalued assets that people don't think about?
It's not tangible. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't taste it. It's a concept more than anything else, right? Like, time is not a tangible thing. And so because it's not tangible, you can't see it. Dollars, you could see dollars leaving your account and coming into your account, right? Yeah. But when it comes to time, and that's another thing as well. Like, it's always there. Rich or poor, sick or healthy, married or single, it's the moment you're conceived, time is there. And so it's like, a lot of times you lose that awareness because you're so used to a thing being around, right? Like, how many times do we think about oxygen? We don't. Take it away, and then how much you're gonna be thinking about. That's all you're gonna be thinking about, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing, like with time. Once someone's at the end of their life, or they get some terminal sickness, now all of a sudden time becomes like, oh shoot, now we're focused on it. But we should have been focused on it the whole time. It's really, really important, right?
Saying that now, what does a sovereign man, how does a sovereign man view time? And what would be a sovereign man has certain control of his attention, time, order, and everything else. What does a sovereign man look like that has control of this?
So a sovereign man is someone who he has his priorities in order, right? And he has where it's essentially when you talk about kind of focusing your time and your efforts, right? And the N stands for non-negotiables. Those are the things that you have to deal with, right? You delegate it, you pass it out to somebody else or something else to do. You automate it so you don't think about it, or you eliminate it because it doesn't have any value. It's not helping you to get to where you're trying to go. And so a sovereign man knows what's important in his life, and he makes sure there's time for those things that are important. So a sovereign man's gonna make time for his wife. A sovereign man's gonna make time for his children. A sovereign man's gonna make time for anything else that he views that's going to be walking in his purpose or adding value in that way that's actually making a difference. He's very focused with his time and his efforts because he does know that I only have so much of it and I can't give it away to drinking or smoking or just bumming around or hanging around people aren't doing nothing, or I can't just waste it doing that, right? I got to be very focused and intent. And I don't know a sovereign man, I don't know any that don't have run a pretty strict program when it comes to their time. Like not anybody and everybody can just get their time, and just waste it.
Yep.
That's something I would say, that they know the value of time, they prioritize. And if it's not something that's either, bringing them value or adding value in some way, shape, or form, either relationally or business wise or personal development wise or things like that, it's not on the list.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, guys, don't get it twisted, right? It doesn't have to be monetary all the time. Like Doc said, it can be having control of certain situations, pointing you in the right direction, having that purpose. Even like for me, because the less time and attention you give to somebody else, the more important you get, right? The more important you get, the more, let's say, in control you have of not just yourself, but who you give your allotted time to. Now, I'm not saying time on the clock. It means you might spend 15 minutes with somebody here, but do you give them the attention they deserve and the attention to yourself, right? What's the difference between a man who protects his time and a man who's always saying he's busy?
So, a man that protects his time, chances are, he's not saying I'm busy, but you probably don't have access to him like that unless you're in your inner circle. Right.
Yeah.
So that's probably a big thing. People who are that strict, like the sovereign men, like not everyone can just call them and say, hey, just want to shoot the breeze with you and things like that. It's usually not what's happening unless you're in their inner circle, right? You're someone that they really care about. You're close. I think when it comes to that might be on a case by case basis for whatever those reasons are, as far as like being busy. But I would say that if we're looking at the framework of not being structured with time, the question would be then busy doing what? Because then if we audit a lot of our lives, if we could be honest, if we audit a lot of our lives, what are you really doing and what are you really accomplishing? I remember there's a point in time when I used to have like a daily to-do list. I still have it somewhere around here from years ago. And a lot of the stuff on there was just like, it wasn't moving me closer to any goals. It wasn't prioritizing family. It wasn't advancing my business. It wasn't helping anybody. I had a whole lot of things checked off. So I was doing things. I was busy. And there's people now, there are some people that are so structured with their time that they can get more done in 4 hours in a day than some people can get done over the course of a week, because they're so focused with their time. I think it was Kevin O'Leary was talking about, the noise to focus ratio. And he was saying like 80% of your time has to be on focus with 20% noise. 20% noise, those are other things that aren't really helping you get to where your goal is, but maybe you're still kind of paying some type of attention to it. And he said someone like a Elon Musk, or I think he said like he's like 100% focused, zero noise. And when you hear Elon Musk talk about how he plans things out and the strategy, he's laser focused to a fault. Right?
Yes.
Because you do got to make sure you keep all your priorities in place, as far as like, again, if you have a family, right? If you're married, that's a priority, right? You got to make sure you cultivate that. If you have kids, that's a priority. You got to make sure you cultivate that. You can't say, oh, well, I got to work. No, well, you should have planned that out before you started getting into a relationship, before you started having kids, because each one of those is going to require that time, right? And you can't just put them on the back burner and then use this as an excuse, as some type of badge of honor. Well, I'm working 16 hours a day to support my family. Let's pause for a second. Is there a reason why you're having to work 16 hours a day to support your family? I mean, not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
even if you did it backwards, you still have a responsibility to your wife and to your children, right? And so, just kind of keeping that in mind, that when we have those responsibilities, and we got to make sure we're setting aside that time specifically for the things that matter the most. Yeah.
So with that being said, why valuing your time to sacrifice for the right people in your life, the inner circle, like you said, is the first move every sovereign man should make? Or if he's not a sovereign man, what should they be doing to accumulate that type of control?
I would say do an inventory on take a week, and I want you to track what you're doing during the week. And at the end of that week, I want you to go over those behaviors, over those actions, and just do a time audit. How much time are you spending on those things? Those things are not important. How much time are you spending on those things? So if you're spending 30 hours a week playing video games and you're not a streamer and you're not making content, you're just playing video games, what does the rest of your life look like? Right? Or are you still like broke? Is your wife working like 2-3 jobs while you're sitting at home on the couch? Let's just take an honest look. Like, what is going on with my time? What am I doing with my time? Am I spending more time out with the boys than I am with my own kids and family? Like, what am I doing? This isn't about, again, shaming anybody, but if you really want to make change, you got to, increase your awareness. If you really want to know, just like with money, right? With money, if you really want to know where your money is going, you need to have a budget. You need to track every dollar and every bill and everything like that. So now, then again, it's not shame. Maybe you see that, oh, shoot, man, maybe I am blowing a lot of money. I'm wasting a lot of money. I've been to the club like 4 times this month and dropped like $3,000 or something like that. I don't know, man. I need to pull back. But it's the same thing with your time. If it's like, man, I've been going to the bar too much, or, I've been hanging with the boys too much, or I could be working more, but I've been at home just kind of chilling. So, take that time, do that inventory, right? And then use that, the NADE, right? Find out, okay, what am I really trying to accomplish? And what are the things I got to have my hands on, the non-negotiables? I got to put in time there. So that'd probably be, your career, your purpose, your family. You got to put in time there, right? What are things you can delegate? Things you don't necessarily have to do. Find out what those are, delegate those out. What are things you can automate? Right? Oh, right. You can automate getting groceries to the house, or monthly, things that get used up. Setting that up, automate, and then eliminate. What are the things that are bringing absolutely no value? They're taking, but they're adding absolutely no value to your life. Eliminate it. Maybe it's friends that want to hang out and just drink and smoke and things like that. Sorry, cut them out. That's not adding value to your life. Maybe it's, going to the bar. Cut it out. It's not adding value to your life. Maybe it's you're working triple overtime, but you're not getting really any extra bonus for it, right? Or you're doing more work than you're supposed to, because you're just trying to be a nice guy or be a people pleaser. Cut it out.
No, there you
Start saying no.
Again. Yep.
Because you think about it, ultimately, this is my time. This is my time.
Yep.
I only have time. I only have so much. And I don't even know how much I got. So I don't want to spend my time that's so precious and so valuable on things that don't bring or add any type of value at all. So that's what I would say to do, right? I would say take a week, scan your week, look at what you actually have done, and be honest. Don't lie. Don't try to make yourself look better. Oh, see, well, I was, really trying to help out. That's why I stayed home that day to play video games, because I just need to watch the house. Don't lie to yourself. If it was a waste of time, just say, yeah, no, it was a waste of time. They didn't add any real value. And then doing that, you start changing your behaviors and then start getting more structured with your time.
I mean, I got a perfect example. We got Vans over here, 702 Savannah. Kahanui, right? She went on a mission right there with everything that you got going on. She was focused, came out, did her thing, and I congratulate her on everything that she's got going on, because she was laser focused, like you said. She valued her time, saved her grace, forgave herself, did everything that you want. And when the pressure said to quit, guess what she did? She went off and did something even greater.
Yeah.
What's the cost of wasting time now in the wrong direction for the situation? Like you said, you mentioned playing in the video games, being in the bar, doing something for no reason. Your partner could be working 2, 3 jobs where you're sitting on the couch and you're justifying everything, right? How does that help you become a better or sovereign man? Where do you put boundaries on yourself so that you can push your partner forward and yourself? How do you ask? Because a lot of people do that, right? Because, like you said, Doc, I can get more things done basically because I'm just almost hyped up anyway. But I get more things done before my kids got to wake up than most people get done in a month.
Mhm.
If I'm not learning, I'm not growing, I'm not pushing, I'm not encouraging, right? I'm not
Yeah.
pushing myself to become better for tomorrow, because tomorrow can end. This is why part of this podcast is for Doc's son, for my sons, to leave a legacy, to have advice from both of us in case something happens.
Mhm.
Because it can happen that fast. What is the ultimate cost of wasting time?
Ultimate cost of wasting time is missed opportunities. It doesn't start when you become an adult. It starts when you're a
Nope.
child, right? And I always try to tell my kids, that you want to maximize your time and effort in school, right? For nothing else, but it's going to give you more options and opportunities once it's time to go to college, if you want to go to college, right? It's a lot easier to go to college when you have other people, when they have them beating at your door and saying, hey, we'll give you money. And you have 15 different colleges to choose from, well, you get a full ride anywhere. It's a lot easier like that than it is when you graduate and you got piss poor grades. And it's like, yeah, no one really wants you. You got to pay out of pocket. Maybe you go to like a community college, or instead of doing your homework, instead of turning it in, instead of studying and things like that, you waste the time doing other things. And so you miss out on opportunities. Now, you miss out on those opportunities, you miss out on certain connections, right? You're going to have different level of connections at a Harvard than you would at a community college, right? And we know having those connections plays a big role. I look at my Facebook page, I look at my friends from college, and I have friends in all types of different industries and places that I could reach out to right now. Would I have that same level of network if I went to Palm Beach State Community College? No, I would
No.
not. You would not. So when you waste time, you're wasting, you're closing yourself off from opportunities that sometimes you won't even be able to ever see, right? And they'll never come back
That
around,
door won't even open.
right? So that's another thing as well. I know people always say it's never too late to start, but it's so much better and so much easier to start when you're younger, right? So much easier, right? You think about like investing, right? They say the best time to start investing is when you're young. Start putting that money in. You can put a little bit of money in, and just do it consistently and not even change it. And you'll make more than someone who starts later on in life. So that time compounding, not just with money, but with skills. If you start focusing your efforts on your skills earlier, you hit mastery sooner, right? So that the ultimate cost, you're missing out on the compounding effect of time.
No, I get it, because like I said, if I started from my point of view, right? I started early, did everything right. I just went in the right direction according to the law. But then again, too, I was always performing. I was trying to seek validation, and I tried to use my time wisely in the beginning so I could relax at the end. Unfortunately, my choices created so many different things in me that made it rough. So I had to go away and go do vacation, do all this good stuff. But like Doc said, if I put my efforts in the right direction, with the right time, with the right value, things would be, I wouldn't have to have worked 10 times as harder now to open that door, right? Even though I've worked myself, and a lot of people don't understand that. Working from behind a glass ceiling or a glass door, you can see it, you can touch it right there, but that door is right there. How hard you have to work to be able to have that door crack open for you just once. And you have to have that availability in yourself, because did I waste my time? I wasted a lot of time, but I also can move at a speed's light to get better to have that door open. So when the opportunity arises, people are going to hold that door open for me. It's like, oh, that's Gordon Watt. Boom. Oh, yeah. Let him in. Versus, all right, that's Gordon Watt, the asshole, the criminal that didn't do nothing. Close that door. Right now, when you value your time in an essence where it becomes almost like an advantage, it helps you in scenarios in the future also. It's like, I'll give you a perfect example. Me and Doc, right? When our friendship began and we came to this idea and I said what I could do, I'll never let him down, right? And this is the commitment Doc made to us, because vice versa, right? And I could do that for politicians now. I could do it for company owners right now because I have character built in time and I didn't waste it, right? Now, if you take it when pressure arises, why does some men sway from that when they have the time? When men have an opportunity, they have the time, they have know-how, but they avoid it like the plague, right? It's just, to me, it's weird. Can you explain that?
That's more of a probably a self-esteem thing, a self-confidence thing, a belief in themselves. Sometimes might, what shows up, it looks like self-sabotage, what's really just your brain is not, and your beliefs are not set to the level where you could really receive what's going on. So you'll do something to reset it. So that's where the sabotage comes back, but it's really just a re-leveling. So that's more so when you see that there's some type of fear aspect behind it, not necessarily a time aspect. That people use excuses of time. I need more time, or I need to get better, or I need to do X, Y, Z. But that's just an excuse as to why you're not jumping in right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there a cost for waiting in that scenario?
I'll give you an example. I remember when I was in middle school, there was this girl that I liked, and I really liked her. But I didn't say anything. I didn't, I would talk to her, and all that. But I didn't really have game like that back then. But in any case, and then guess what happened? My friend came along and he asked her out and he started dating her. Just like that. Opportunity gone. And the thing was, even though I was young at that time, I actually wasn't mad at him. It was just like, dang, yeah, I missed my opportunity because I was sitting there playing games and wasting time. I'm not even say playing games. I was just, I was scared, right? But so
that's what it comes down to, huh?
That's also one of the costs. You could miss out on opportunities. How many times have I ever heard people say, oh, yeah, I had that idea a long time ago. Yeah, but you didn't do anything with it. So someone else came along, they did something with it, and now they're rich, they're comfortable, they're successful, and you're not. And if you try to get into it, now the market's saturated,
it's too late.
And so it's too late. So that's the ultimate cost, right? You might miss out on opportunities, that may never come back around again. You never know what kind of opportunities are going to drop in your lap. You never know who you're going to be, who you're going to encounter. You have no idea. So that's why it's so important for us to maximize our time, maximize our efforts as much as possible in the things that matter, so that we don't miss out on those opportunities.
And because the cost of waiting is so much. Even like for us with the alert pops, we're just hammering along right now. In fact, we're looking for different investments because we're to fulfill orders, right? But even like with opportunity, where everything else, the opportunity doesn't have to be, say, in business. It has opportunity to do opening the doors for yourself, right? Because you could become better. It's like working out. You can get stronger. It's like running. You can get faster. You can get more athletic. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional, psychological, and pertaining to, say, getting out of some sort of comfort zone. What does a person specifically lose every single day he waits, right? Because what does he lose from some of your clients and your relationships and people?
Yeah. So I would say you lose opportunities for growth, opportunities for connection, opportunities for memories.
Yep.
I remember when I was younger, I was in my 20s, I was playing semi-pro football and I was going to school at the same time. So I was going to school and I was playing football at the same time. So I was gone a lot. And I look back on that now and I missed a lot of opportunities to spend time with my kids when they were younger, particularly my 15-year-old, right? I can't get that back. Those are lost opportunities. And if I could go back, I would absolutely tell myself, absolutely do not play semi-pro football. Do not. Absolutely not. That'll be a waste of your time, man. They're not serious about it. And you're not going to the league or anything like that. Bro, stay home, man. Make those memories with your children. Make those memories with your wife. Read your Bible stories to them, or take them to the park. Take pictures. That stuff that makes a difference, right? So those opportunities are precious, right? You could attest to that. You spend a lot of time with your
Absolutely.
kids. So you miss out on those opportunities and you just never get them back. All those days you spend holding a grudge and doing silent treatment with your wife, stack all those up at the end of your life. You're going to be like, man, I really wish I had more time with her.
At the end of it all. Yep.
Yeah. And it was over a waffle, or because we were late to a date, or so I didn't want to listen to her, or something along those lines. You also missed opportunities to repair certain relationships, right? Because you asked earlier,
to repair.
What happens if you're not taking that time together and there's no repair? You're going to drift further and further apart. And how many guys get, they say they get, blindsided with a divorce because everything seemed like it was great. But how much time are you actually investing into your relationship? Like legitimately investing into your relationship, so you miss those opportunities. And sometimes even in those cases, people get to a point where they're just apathetic. Your wife doesn't hate you. She's just like, I have nothing for you. I have no feelings for you. And that zero desire to try to bring them back. Those are opportunities that are missed. So I would say that's like the real cost. You miss out on those opportunities and you can never get them back. And you'll sit there and look at your child later on, man, I wish I spent more time with them. I wish I did this. I wish I did that.
I've lived through that. I'd always think about, the time, the essence, the memories, like you said. And if you're a man going through all of this stuff and later on you say, you wish you could have done, it's too late. Yep. It's literally too late, and you don't want to live your life that way when it says, I wish I could have done this. Why not live it now? Why not use the time wisely? Why not do something different? And if you're a person listening to this, whether you're on a podcast, you're watching this on a video, or you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you want to see the video and what we look like, right? There's one thing you want to do before this episode ends, guys, is you want to do an audit like Doc said. If any of these problems went through this, write down where you're wasting time. Treat time like it's the most valuable asset, more than money. Because like Steve Jobs says, yeah, you can conquer the world, you can build things that change the world, but when it comes down to time and health and money and everything else, you can't buy it back. Like I tell somebody, my friend, right? Yeah, we put up a lot of different things for him to be out, but it's like money you can get back. Spending these times with what's mattered to you right now is more important no matter what the outcome is. Because if I was sitting inside there, I'm looking at 15, 20 years, let me have one more chance. And I can say we offered that and gave that to him, because that's what matters. No matter who you are, what situation you're in. But Doc, what would you tell a person that is not managing their time well? And we can end with that.
Yeah. A person that's not managing their time well and they want to. Yeah. The first I'd ask them, what are the things that are important to you? Right? Like, what are those things? What are you trying to accomplish? What's important to you? Right? And then the next question I would ask is, are those things that are important to you, are those your priorities? Are those the things that you're spending more of your time on? Or if not, what are you spending your time on? And then what's causing you to spend time in those areas? And really to start breaking it down from there, right? Again, bringing that awareness and helping people to see that, there is a better way to do this. I can structure my time. I can have my cake and eat it too.
Right.
Meaning that, hey, yeah, you can have time for yourself, but you can also make time for others. You can make time for work, but also make time for your family. You can make time for exercise and also make time for rest. Like what a lot of people are lacking is structure. They're lacking focus and structure. Once you have your focus and once you have your structure, then you can make as much progress as you would like. Then now you're maximizing your time and your effort. Because then, like we talked about earlier, you could get, let's say you work 4 hours a day and just knock it out the park. Like you just went all in and killed it. But you have the rest of the day to hang out with your family. That's not a waste. That's great. Or it may be a young guy watching this, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it so that, but when it's time for me to get married, money's not gonna be an issue ever. So I can have that time with my wife and with my kids. Sir, yeah. Go ahead and work those 16 hours, those double shifts, triple shifts, things like that. Save that money, invest that money, get your house, get out of debt, do what you need to do, set yourself up, take the next 10 years, setting yourself up so that when it's time to get married, you don't got to worry about that stuff. You could actually enjoy your marriage. That's so I would
Ooh,
say
look at
that,
this. Look at this comment right here coming on. Yes, it could be too late when she stops wanting to be with you and love you. And I know he was told, come back to me before it's too late. Yes, you're so right, Miss Isabel Mazzano.
truth.
That is so true.
That's the truth. Yeah. And the thing about that is, just kind of reiterating her point, it's sometimes it's not even to the point where it's like it's hate. It's like I
Yeah,
have learned to do without the love that you were supposed to provide. And now you're asking me to open up and become vulnerable again when I'm okay over here. No, I'm good. I don't want to do that. And can you fault somebody like that? Someone who's been hurt, and abandoned and neglected for so long, and I don't know her story. I'm just saying in general, could you blame someone who was treated that way for so long because we weren't making use of, we're wasting the time? They had to learn how to survive. That's just how they survived. And now when you wake up and open your eyes and it's like, oh man, yeah, no, this relationship was so important to me, so valuable. It's like, I'm sorry, it's too late. And I'm seeing that. And when you finally wake up and recognize all the time and effort and energy you wasted and how it's gone. And then now people don't want anything to do with you. Your kids don't want nothing to do with you. Your wife doesn't want anything to do with you, right? Like, and you're just sitting there with regret.
Regret is a whole nother.
I would say, guys, definitely, make the use of your time, get structured, get focused, focus on the things that matter. I can tell you right now, the things that matter the most, for one, your relationship with God. That's one. 2, your relationship with your wife. 3, with your children, if you have them. And then 4, with yourself. Those are the 4 that you absolutely need to make sure you're pouring into, right? And if you know your purpose, then that'd be number 5. Right.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Guys, if you like this type of content, if you like listening to our voice on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and you want to see our mugs, our faces, if it's real, right? We are on YouTube, boundariesandbrotherhood.com. And if you want the free PDFs for our workshop, we're offering right now, you get the PDFs, you might have to pay for downloadable, but you also get access to the free workshop, our 7-course past workshop from the last 6 months. And you also get to join the community. If you can control your time a little bit more so you can have a better life for you, your family, your wife. What if your husband needs to hear it from another messenger to get your point across? This is what we're for. Come join us in Boundaries and Brotherhood. Join the free community. Drop us a comment. Guys, Doc, any closing remarks for the podcast or anything?
Yeah, I would say, guys, don't waste time. If you recognize that some things resonate with you, it's like, man, I haven't invested in my relationship with my wife, or I haven't invested in relationship with my kids, or haven't invested in my body and things of that nature, right? Because sometimes we're wasting time and not taking care of ourselves, and until you get sick, and then now you have all these complications, and now you're getting getting this irreparable damage that's going on in your body, and it's like, oh man, maybe I should have eaten right. Like, just stop wasting time. If you made mistakes, just stop now, get focused, get organized, get structured, and get back on it, right? And start really investing your time properly, the things that matter the most. Right.
Beautiful.
So,
all right.
Yep.
Guys, we'll catch you guys next week. If you want any more things like this, head on over to Boundaries and Brotherhood. Take that assessment. And we'll see you guys next week. Aloha. Bye.
You guys take care.